4 years ago, getting your hands on a PlayStation 5 felt like winning the lottery. Scalpers, supply shortages, and insane demand turned the console into a cultural phenomenon. But now, in 2025, with the dust settled, we have to ask, was the PS5 truly a next-gen success, or was it the most overhyped PlayStation ever? To answer that, let's take a trip through PlayStation history. Each generation had its highs and lows. The PS1 introduced us to 3D gaming, the PS2 became the best-selling console of all time, the PS3 struggled with its launch but rebounded strong, and the PS4 delivered hit after hit. So where does the PS5 land in this legacy? When the PS5 launched on November 12, 2020, in select regions and November 19th globally, excitement was at an all-time high. Sony promised an unparalleled next-gen experience, with lightning-fast load times, groundbreaking visuals, and immersive haptic feedback. But did it truly deliver? The numbers don't lie. Sony has sold over 71 million PS5 units worldwide as of 2025, making it one of the fastest selling PlayStations in history. It has consistently outsold the Xbox Series X and S, keeping PlayStation at the top of the console war. But let's break this down further. The PS5 had an incredibly strong start, but a lot of its success can be attributed to scarcity. Scalpers bought up massive quantities, and gamers were desperate to get one. The question is, was the demand purely because of the product itself, or was it fueled by the fact that it was hard to get? Sony's pricing strategy has also played a major role. The console launched at $499 for the disc version and $399 for the digital version. However, in August 2022, Sony announced price increases in several markets due to economic conditions and production costs, a move that was heavily criticized. This was the first time a PlayStation console had received a price hike mid-generation. One of PlayStation's strongest seller points has always been its exclusive games. Titles like Demon's Souls, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, and Horizon Forbidden West showcased the PS5's power early on. More recently, God of War Ragnarok and Spider-Man 2 reinforced PlayStation's dominance in the single-player space. However, since mid-2023, Sony has been surprisingly quiet about its first-party lineup. What's going on with Sony Studios? Where's the next Uncharted, The Last of Us Part 3, or a major new IP? While Xbox has been making major acquisitions like Bethesda and Activision Blizzard, Sony has focused on organic growth, but with fewer big announcements. Without major upcoming exclusives, PlayStation's momentum could slow down. On the hardware side, the PS5's custom SSD remains one of its biggest strengths, offering lightning-fast load times compared to previous generations. Ray tracing enhances graphical fidelity, and the DualSense controller adds a new level of immersion. The adaptive triggers and haptic feedback have been praised, but their usage varies between games, making them feel underutilized in some cases. Another key issue is cross-generation support. Many PS5 games, including Horizon Forbidden West and God of War Ragnarok, also launched on PS4. This meant that developers had to optimize for older hardware, limiting how truly next-gen these games could be. The transition to fully PS5 exclusive games has been slower than expected. The PS5 Pro is officially here, launching in November 2024 with upgraded specs like improved ray tracing, enhanced performance, and even 8K support. But here's the real question, do we actually need a PS5 Pro right now? The base PS5 is already a powerhouse, and many games still haven't come close to maxing out its potential. Some critics argue that instead of releasing new hardware, Sony should have focused more on software, delivering more exclusives and optimizing games better for the current gen system. And then there's the price tag. At $699, the PS5 Pro isn't exactly budget friendly. For that price, some gamers argue you could build a decent gaming PC with more flexibility and upgrade options. If Sony wants the Pro to succeed, they'll need to prove that it's more than just a slightly faster version of what we already have. To truly understand where the PS5 stands, let's compare it to previous generations. So we got the PlayStation 1, revolutionized gaming with 3D graphics and iconic titles like Final Fantasy VII and Metal Gear Solid. It officially discontinued in 2006, long after its initial 1994 release. Then we got the PlayStation 2, the best-selling console of all time, with legendary games like GTA San Andreas, Shadow of the Colossus, and God of War. This continued in early 2013. The PlayStation 3 launched with a steep $599 price tag and complex cell architecture which made development difficult. However, it gained traction with hits like Uncharted 2, The Last of Us, and Metal Gear Solid 4. Then we got the PlayStation 4, one of Sony's most successful generations, with over 117 million units sold. It was home to award-winning exclusives like Bloodborne, Horizon Zero Dawn, and God of War 2018. So where does the PS5 fit? Well, I think it's selling well, very well, but lacks the software dominance of the PS4 era. It's powerful but hasn't revolutionized gaming the way the PS1 and the PS2 did. It's in an interesting position, successful yet uncertain. So was the PS5 a success? In many ways, absolutely. It's delivered on its promise of high performance, an amazing control and strong exclusives, but in the last year or so, it has raised concerns. Without major first-party announcements and with the looming PS5 Pro debate, Sony risks losing momentum. The lack of communication from Sony since mid-2023 has left gamers with questions. Where's the PlayStation heading? Will we see another wave of groundbreaking exclusives? Or is Sony shifting its focus away from traditional console gaming? The PS5 had an incredible start, but as we move deeper into this generation, Sony has big questions to answer. Is the PS5 still the best PlayStation ever, or will history remember it as a missed opportunity? Let me know your thoughts in the comments.